When an ambitious man is denied what he believes is rightfully his, one cannot expect him to sit idly by. When Lucius Sergius Catiline failed to get elected as consul of Rome twice in a row, he vowed to not let it happen a third time. The Republic would be his, even if it meant overthrowing the Senate. Thus, the Catilinarian conspiracy was born. The plot Catiline led against the government had a lot of moving parts. While he attempted to garner support and preemptively silence opposition within the Senate, he also instructed his subordinates to influence the Roman populace with promises of debt cancellation, and to amass from the neighboring provinces an army of soldiers capable of marching on the city of Rome. None of this was done quietly enough, and soon rumors began to spread of Catiline's treasonous machinations. Marcus Tullius Cicero, who had been one of the consuls at the time, had had his suspicions about Catiline for a few years. Yet, when Quintus Curius, a former conspirator, revealed to him the scope of the plot, he struggled to convince the rest of the Senate that the government was in danger. It was only in the latter half of 63 BC, when unrest stirred in the city of Rome and rumors of a gathering army in its northern periphery moved the Senate to action. Cicero assumed emergency powers and Catiline was charged, though not detained. On the morning of November 7th, 2 conspirators attempted to assassinate Cicero in his home. He was, however, ready for them, thanks to a warning from Quintus Curius, and refused to give them the window of opportunity. The following day, Cicero convened a meeting with the senators. Though for fear of schemes awaiting them at the Senate House, it was held at the Temple of Jupiter Stator. In a surprise to most, Catiline attended like there was nothing out of the ordinary. But the other senators refused to sit next to him. Cicero would then deliver the following speech. "When, O Catiline, do you mean to cease abusing our patience? How long is that madness of yours still to mock us? When is there to be an end of that unbridled audacity of yours, swaggering about as it does now? Do not the nightly guards placed upon the Palatine Hill, do not the watches posted throughout the city, does not the alarm of the people and the union of all good men, does not the precaution taken of assembling the Senate in this most defensible place, do not the looks and countenances of this venerable body here present have any effect upon you? Do you not feel that your plans are detected? Do you not see that your conspiracy is already arrested and rendered powerless by the knowledge which everyone here possesses of it? What is there that you did last night? What the night before? Where is it that you were? Who was there that you summoned to meet you? What design was there which was adopted by you, with which you think that any one of us is unacquainted? Shame on the age and on its principles. The Senate is aware of these things. The consul sees them. And yet this man lives. Aye, he comes even into the Senate. He takes a part in the public deliberations. He is watching and marking down and checking off for slaughter every individual among us. And we, gallant men that we are, think that we are doing our duty to the Republic if we keep out of the way of his frenzied attacks. You ought, O Catiline, long ago to have been led to execution by command of the consul. That destruction which you have been long plotting against us ought to have already fallen on your head. What, did not that most illustrious man, Publius Scipio, the Pontifex Maximus, in his capacity of a private citizen, put to death Tiberius Gracchus, though but slightly undermining the constitution? And shall we, who are the consuls, tolerate Catiline, openly desirous to destroy the whole world with fire and slaughter? Or I pass over older instances, such as how Caius Severilius Ahala with his own hand slew Spurius Maelius when plotting a revolution in the state. There was once such virtue in this republic that brave men would repress mischievous citizens with severer chastisement than the most bitter enemy. For we have a resolution of the Senate, a formidable and authoritative decree against you, O Catiline. The wisdom of the Republic is not at fault, nor the dignity of this senatorial body. We alone, I say it openly, we the consuls are wanting in our duty. The Senate once passed a decree that Lucius Opimius, the consul, should take care that the Republic suffered no injury. Not one night elapsed there was put to death, on some mere suspicion of disaffection, Caius Gracchus, a man whose family had borne the most unblemished reputation for many generations. There was slain Marcus Fulvius, a man of consular rank, and all his children. By a like decree of the Senate, the safety of the Republic was entrusted to Caius Marius and Lucius Valerius, the consuls. Did not the vengeance of the Republic, did not execution overtake Lucius Saturninus, a tribune of the people, and Caius Servilius, the praetor, without the delay of one single day? But we, for these 20 days, have been allowing the edge of the Senate's authority to grow blunt, as it were. For we are now in possession of a similar decree of the Senate, but we keep it locked up in its parchment, buried, I may say, in the sheath. And according to this decree, you ought, O Catiline, to be put to death this instant. You live, and you live, not to lay aside, but to persist in your audacity. I wish, O conscript fathers, to be merciful. I wish not to appear negligent amid such dangers to the Senate. But I do not accuse myself of remissness and culpable inactivity. A camp is pitched in Italy, at the entrance of Etruria, in hostility to the Republic. The number of the enemy increases every day, and yet the general of that camp, the leader of those enemies we see within the walls, aye, and even in the Senate, planning every day some injury to the Republic. If, O Catiline, I should now order you to be arrested, to be put to death, I should, I suppose, have to fear lest all good men should say that I acted tardily, rather than that any one should affirm that I acted cruelly. But yet this, which ought to have been done long since, I have good reason for not doing as yet. I will put you to death, then, when there shall be not one person possible to be found so wicked, so abandoned, so like yourself, as not to allow that it has been rightly done. As long as one person exists who can dare defend you, you shall live. But you shall live as you do now, surrounded by my many and trusty guards, so long as you shall not be able to stir one finger against the Republic. Many eyes and ears shall still observe and watch you, as they have hitherto done, though you shall not perceive them. For what is there, O Catiline, that you can still expect, if night is not able to veil your nefarious meetings in darkness, and if private houses cannot conceal the voice of your conspiracy within their walls, if everything is seen and displayed? Change your mind, trust me, forget the slaughter and conflagration you are meditating. You are hemmed in on all sides. All your plans are clearer than the day to us. Let me remind you of them. Do you recollect that on the 21st of October, I said in the Senate that on a certain day, which was to be the 27th of October, C. Manlius, the satellite and servant of your audacity, would be in arms? Was I mistaken, Catiline, not only in so important, so atrocious, so incredible a fact, but, what is much more remarkable, in the very day? I said also in the Senate that you had fixed the massacre of the nobles for the 28th of October, when many chief men of the Senate had left Rome, not so much for the sake of saving themselves as of checking your designs. Can you deny that on that very day you were so hemmed in by my guards and my vigilance that you are unable to stir one finger against the Republic? When you said that you would be content with the flight of the rest and the slaughter of us who remained, what? When you made sure that you would be able to seize Praeneste on the 1st of November by a nocturnal attack, did you not find that that colony was fortified by my order, by my garrison, by my watchfulness and care? You do nothing. You plan nothing. You think of nothing which I not only hear, but which I see and know every particular of. Listen while I speak of the night before. You shall now see that I watch far more actively for the safety than you do for the destruction of the Republic. I say that you came the night before, I will say nothing obscurely, into the scythe-dealer's street, to the house of Marcus Lecca. That many of your accomplices in the same insanity and wickedness came there too. Do you dare deny it? Why are you silent? I will prove it if you deny it, for I see here in the Senate some men who were there with you. O ye immortal gods, where on earth are we? In what city are we living? What constitution is ours? There are here in our body, O conscript fathers, in this the most holy and dignified assembly of the whole world, men who meditate my death, and the death of all of us, and the destruction of this city, and of the whole world. I, the consul, see them. I ask them their opinion about the Republic, and I do not yet attack, even by words, those who ought to be put to death by the sword. You were, then, O Catiline, at Lecca's that night. You divided Italy into sections. You settled where everyone was to go. You fixed whom you were to leave at Rome, whom you were to take with you. You portioned out the divisions of the city for conflagration. You undertook that you yourself would at once leave the city, and said that there was then only this to delay you, that I was still alive. 2 Roman knights were found to deliver you from this anxiety, and to promise that very night, before daybreak, to slay me in my bed. All this I knew almost before your meeting had broken up. I strengthened and fortified my house with a stronger guard. I refused admittance when they came to those whom you sent in the morning to salute me, and of whom I had foretold to many eminent men that they would come to me at that time. As, then, this is the case, O Catiline, continue as you have begun. Leave the city, at least. The gates are open. Depart. That Manlian camp of yours has been waiting too long for you as its general, and lead forth with you all your friends, or at least as many as you can. Purge the city of your presence. You will deliver me from a great fear when there is a wall between you and me. Among us you can dwell no longer. I will not bear it. I will not permit it. I will not tolerate it. Great thanks are due to the immortal gods, and to this very Jupiter Stator, in whose temple we are, the most ancient protector of this city, that we have already so often escaped so foul, so horrible, and so deadly an enemy to the Republic. But the safety of the Commonwealth must not be too often allowed to be risked on one man. As long as you, O Catiline, plotted against me while I was consul-elect, I defended myself, not with a public guard, but by my own private diligence. When, in the next consular comitia, you wished to slay me when I was actually consul, and your competitors also in the Campus Martius, I checked your nefarious attempts by the assistance and resources of my own friends, without exciting any disturbance publicly. In short, as often as you attacked me, I by myself opposed you, and that, too, though I saw that my ruin was connected with great disaster to the Republic. But now you are openly attacking the entire Republic. You are summoning to destruction and devastation the temples of the immortal gods, the houses of the city, the lives of all the citizens, in short, all Italy. Wherefore, since I do not yet venture to do that which is the best thing, and which belongs to my office and to the discipline of our ancestors, I will do that which is more merciful if we regard its vigor, and more expedient for the state. For if I order you to be put to death, the rest of the conspirators will still remain in the Republic. If, as long as I have been exhorting you, you depart, your companions, those worthless dregs of the Republic, will be drawn off from the city too. What's the matter, Catiline? Do you hesitate to do that when I order you, which you were already doing of your own accord? The consul orders an enemy to depart from the city. Do you ask me, are you to go into banishment? I do not order it, but if you consult me, I advise it. For what is there, O Catiline, that can now afford you any pleasure in this city? For there is no one in it, except that band of profligate conspirators of yours who does not fear you, no one who does not hate you. What brand of domestic baseness is not stamped upon your life? What disgraceful circumstance is wanting to your infamy in your private affairs? From what licentiousness have your eyes? From what atrocity have your hands? From what iniquity has your whole body ever abstained? Is there one youth, when you have once entangled him in the temptations of your corruption, to whom you have not held out a sword for audacious crime, or a torch for licentious wickedness? What, when lately by the death of your former wife you had made your house empty and ready for a new bridal, did you not even add another incredible wickedness to this wickedness? But I pass that over, and willingly allow it to be buried in silence, that so horrible a crime may not be seen to have existed in this city, and not to have been chastised. I pass over the ruin of your fortune, which you know is hanging over you against the Ides of the very next month. I come to those things which relate not to the infamy of your private vices, not to your domestic difficulties and baseness, but to the welfare of the Republic, and to the lives and safety of us all. Can the light of this life, O Catiline, can the breath of this atmosphere be pleasant to you, when you know that there is not one man of those here present who is ignorant that you, on the last day of the year, when Lepidus and Tullus were consuls, stood in the assembly armed, that you had prepared your hand for the slaughter of the consuls and chief men of the state, and that no reason or fear of yours hindered your crime and madness, but the fortune of the Republic? And I say no more of these things, for they are not unknown to everyone. How often have you endeavored to slay me, both as consul-elect and as actual consul? How many shots of yours, so aimed that they seemed impossible to be escaped, have I avoided by some slight stooping aside and some dodging, as it were, of my body? You attempt nothing. You execute nothing. You devise nothing that can be kept hid from me at the proper time. And yet you do not cease to attempt and to contrive. How often already has that dagger of yours been wrested from your hands? How often has it slipped through them by some chance and dropped down? And yet you cannot any longer do without it. And to what sacred mysteries it is consecrated and devoted by you I know not, that you think it necessary to plunge it in the body of the consul. But now, what is that life of yours that you are leading? For I will speak to you not so as to seem influenced by the hatred I ought to feel, but by pity, nothing of which is due to you. You came a little while ago into the Senate, in so numerous an assembly, who of so many friends and connections of yours saluted you. If this in the memory of man never happened to anyone else, are you waiting for insults by word of mouth, when you are overwhelmed by the most irresistible condemnation of silence? Is it nothing that at your arrival all those seats were vacated, that all the men of consular rank, who had often been marked out by you for slaughter, the very moment you sat down, left that part of the benches bare and vacant? With what feelings did you think you ought to bear this? On my honor, if my slaves feared me as all your fellow citizens feared you, I should think I must leave my house. Do not you think you should leave this city? If I say that I was even undeservedly so suspected and hated by my fellow citizens, I would rather flee from their sight than be gazed at by the hostile eyes of everyone. And do you, who, from the consciousness of your wickedness, know that the hatred of all men is just and has been long due to you, hesitate to avoid the sight and presence of those men whose minds and senses you offend? If your parents feared you and hated you, and if you could by no means pacify them, you would, I think, depart somewhere out of their sight. Now, your country, which is the common parent of all of us, hates and fears you, and has no other opinion of you than that you are meditating parricide in her case. And will you neither feel awe of her authority, nor deference for her judgment, nor fear of her power? And she, O Catiline, thus pleads with you, and after a manner silently speaks to you. There has now for many years been no crime committed but by you. No atrocity has taken place without you. You alone, unpunished and unquestioned, have murdered the citizens, have harassed and plundered the allies. You alone have had power not only to neglect all laws and investigations, but to overthrow and break through them. Your former actions, though they ought not to have been borne, yet I did bear as well as I could. But now that I should be wholly occupied with fear of you alone, that at every sound I should dread Catiline, that no design should seem possible to be entertained against me which does not proceed from your wickedness, this is no longer endurable. Depart then, and deliver me from this fear, that, if it be a just one, I may not be destroyed, if an imaginary one, that at least I may at last cease to fear. If, as I have said, your country were thus to address you, ought she not to obtain her request, even if she were not able to enforce it? What shall I say of your having given yourself into custody? What of your having said, for the sake of avoiding suspicion, that you were willing to dwell in the house of Marcus Lepidus, and when you were not received by him, you dared even to come to me and beg me to keep you in my house? And when you had received answer from me that I could not possibly be safe in the same house with you, when I considered myself in great danger as long as we were in the same city, you came to Quintus Metellus, the praetor, and being rejected by him, you passed on to your associate, that most excellent man, Marcus Marcellus, who would be, I suppose you thought, most diligent in guarding you, most sagacious in suspecting you, and most bold in punishing you. But how far can we think that man ought to be from bound and imprisonment who has already judged himself deserving of being given into custody? Since, then, this is the case, do you hesitate, O Catiline, if you cannot remain here with tranquillity, to depart to some distant land, and to trust your life, saved from just and deserved punishment, to flight and solitude? Make a motion, say you, to the Senate, for that is what you demand, and if this body votes that you ought to go into banishment, you say that you will obey. I will not make such a motion. It is contrary to my principles, and yet I will let you see what these men think of you. Begone from the city, O Catiline. Deliver the Republic from fear. Depart into banishment, if that is the word you are waiting for. What now, O Catiline? Do you not perceive? Do you not see the silence of these men? They permit it. They say nothing. Why wait you for the authority of their words when you see their wishes in their silence? But had I said the same to this excellent young man, Publius Sextius, or to that brave man, Marcus Marcellus, before this time the Senate would deservedly have laid violent hands on me, consul though I be, in this very temple. But as to you, Catiline, while they are quiet, they approve. While they permit me to speak, they vote. While they are silent, they are loud and eloquent. And not they alone, whose authority forsooth is dear to you, though their lives are unimportant, but the Roman knights, too, those honorable and excellent men, and the other virtuous citizens who are now surrounding the Senate, whose numbers you could see, whose desires you could know, and whose voices you a few minutes ago could hear. I, whose very hands and weapons I have for some time been scarcely able to keep off from you. But those, too, I will easily bring to attend you to the gates if you leave these places you have long been desiring to lay waste. And yet, why am I speaking? That anything may change your purpose, that you may ever amend your life, that you may meditate flight or think of voluntary banishment. I wish the gods give you such a mind, though I see, if alarmed at my words you bring your mind to go into banishment, what a storm of unpopularity hangs over me, if not at present, while the memory of your wickedness is fresh, at all events hereafter. But it is worthwhile to incur that, as long as that is but a private misfortune of my own, and is unconnected with the dangers of the Republic. But we cannot expect that you should be concerned at your own vices, that you should fear the penalties of the laws, or that you should yield to the necessities of the Republic, for you are not, O Catiline, one whom either shame can recall from infamy, or fear from danger, or reason from madness. Wherefore, as I have said before, go forth, and if you wish to make me, your enemy, as you call me, unpopular, go straight into banishment. I shall scarcely be able to endure all that will be said if you do so. I shall scarcely be able to support my load of unpopularity if you do go into banishment at the command of the consul. But if you wish to serve my credit and reputation, go forth with your ill-omened band of profligates, betake yourself to Manlius, rouse up the abandoned citizens, separate yourself from the good ones, wage war against your country, exult in your impious bandity, so that you may not seem to have been driven out by me and gone to strangers, but to have gone invited to your own friends. Though why should I invite you, by whom I know men have already sent on weight in arms for you at the Forum Aurelium, who I know has fixed and agreed with Manlius upon a settled day, by whom I know that silver eagle, which I trust will be ruinous and fatal to you and to all your friends, and to which there was set up in your house a shrine, as it were, of your crimes, has been already sent forward. Need I fear that you can long do without that which you used to go worship when going out to murder, and from whose altars you have often transferred your impious hand to the slaughter of citizens? You will go at last where your unbridled and mad desire has been long hurrying you, and this causes you no grief but an incredible pleasure. Nature has formed you, desire has trained you, fortune has preserved you for this insanity. Not only did you never desire quiet, but you never even desired any war but a criminal one. You have collected a band of profligates and worthless men, abandoned not only by all fortune, but even by hope. Then what happiness will you enjoy? With what delight will you exult? In what pleasure will you revel, when in so numerous a body of friends you neither hear nor see one good man? All the toils you have gone through have always pointed to this sort of life. You're lying on the ground not merely to lie in wait to gratify your unclean desires, but even to accomplish crimes. Your vigilance, not only when plotting against the sleep of husbands, but also against the goods of your murdered victims, have all been preparations for this. Now you have an opportunity of displaying your splendid endurance of hunger, of cold, of want, of everything, by which in a short time you will find yourself worn out. All this I effected when I procured your rejection from the consulship, that you should be reduced to make attempts on your country as an exile, instead of being able to distress it as a consul, and that which had been wickedly undertaken by you should be called piracy rather than war. Now that I may remove and avert, O conscript fathers, any in the least reasonable complaint from myself, listen, I beseech you, carefully to what I say, and lay it up on your inmost hearts and minds. In truth, if my country, which is far dearer to me than my life, if all of Italy, if the whole republic were to address me, Marcus Tullius, what are you doing? Will you permit that man to depart whom you have ascertained to be an enemy, whom you see ready to become the general of a war, whom you know to be expected in the camp of the enemy as their chief, the author of all this wickedness, the head of the conspiracy, the instigators of the slaves and abandoned citizens, so that he shall seem not driven out of the city by you, but let loose by you against the city? Will you not order him to be thrown into prison, to be hurried off to execution, to be put to death with the most prompt severity? What hinders you? Is it the customs of our ancestors? But even private men have often in this republic slain mischievous citizens. Is it the laws which have been passed about the punishment of Roman citizens? But in this city, those who have rebelled against the republic have never had the rights of citizens. Do you fear odium with posterity? You are showing fine gratitude to the Roman people which has raised you, a man known only by your own actions, of no ancestral renown, through all the degrees of honor, at so early an age, to the very highest office. If from fear of unpopularity or of any danger you neglect the safety of your own fellow citizens, but if you have a fear of unpopularity, is that arising from the imputation of vigor and boldness? Or is that arising from that inactivity and indecision most to be feared? When Italy is laid to waste by war, when cities are attacked and houses in flames, do you not think that you will be then consumed by a perfect conflagration of hatred? To this holy address of the Republic, and to the feelings of those men who entertain the same opinion, I will make this short answer. If, O conscript fathers, I thought it best that Catiline should be punished with death, I would not have given the space of 1 hour to this gladiator to live in. If, forsooth, those excellent men and most illustrious cities not only did not pollute themselves, but even glorified themselves by the blood of Saturninus, and the Gracchi, and Flaccus, and many others of old time, surely I had no cause to fear, lest for slaying this parricidal murderer of the citizens, any unpopularity should accrue to me with posterity. And if it did threaten me to ever so great a degree, yet I have always been of the disposition to think unpopularity earned by virtue and glory, not unpopularity. Though there are some men in this body who either do not see what threatens, or disassemble what they do see, who have fed the hope of Catiline by mild sentiments, and have strengthened the rising conspiracy by not believing it, influenced by whose authority many, and they not wicked but only ignorant, if I punished him would say that I acted cruelly and tyrannically. But I know that if he arrives at the camp of Manlius to which he is going, there will be no one so stupid as not to see that there has been a conspiracy, no one so hardened as not to confess it. But if this man alone were put to death, I know that this disease of the Republic would be only checked for a while, not eradicated forever. But if he banishes himself, and takes with him all his friends, and collects at one point all the ruined men from every quarter, then not only will this full-grown plague of the Republic be extinguished and eradicated, but also the root and seed of all future evils. We have now for a long time, O conscript fathers, lived among these dangers and machinations of conspiracy. But somehow or other, the ripeness of all wickedness and of this long-standing madness and audacity has come to a head at the time of my consulship. But if this man alone is removed from this piratical crew, we may appear, perhaps, for a short time relieved from fear and anxiety, but the danger will settle down and lie hid in the veins and bowels of the Republic. As it often happens that men afflicted with a severe disease, when they are tortured with heat and fever, if they drink cold water, seem at first to be relieved, but afterwards suffer more and more severely. So this disease which is in the Republic, if relieved by the punishment of this man, will only get worse and worse, as the rest will be still alive. Wherefore, O conscript fathers, let the worthless be gone. Let them separate themselves from the good. Let them collect in one place. Let them, as I have often said before, be separated from us by a wall. Let them cease to plot against the consul in his own house, to surround the tribunal of the city praetor, to besiege the Senate house with swords, to prepare brands and torches to burn the city. Let it, in short, be written on the brow of every citizen what his sentiments are about the Republic. I promise you this, O conscript fathers, that there shall be so much diligence in us the consuls, so much authority in you, so much virtue in the Roman knights, so much unanimity in all good men that you shall see everything made plain and manifest by the departure of Catiline, everything checked and punished. With these omens, O Catiline, be gone to your impious and nefarious war, to the great safety of the Republic, to your own misfortune and injury, and to the destruction of those who have joined themselves to you in every wickedness and atrocity. Then do you, O Jupiter, who were consecrated by Romulus with the same auspices as this city, whom we rightly call the stay of this city and empire, repel this man and his companions from your altars and from the other temples, from the houses and walls of this city, from the lives and fortunes of all the citizens, and overwhelm all the enemies of good men, the foes of the Republic, the robbers of Italy, men bound together by a treaty and infamous alliance of crimes, dead and alive, with eternal punishment. Catiline would heed Cicero's words and leave the city to join his army in Etruria. His military escapade, however, proved as ill-fated as his attempt to seize the consulship by subterfuge. By January of the following year, he was slain in battle. The Catilinarian conspiracy died with him, but the door remained open for a man of equal ambition to seize the Roman Republic by the throat.